Please help me welcome Sherry Prindle.
Ever feel like you're running up against a wall? I actually recently found out that I have a true story of when I actually rammed up against a wall. Well, I kind of didn't ram up against it, but I was 4 years old, and as an only child, my mom decided to go back to work, and she took me to a babysitter who was mean and made me share. She also fed me peanut butter and jelly, which I didn't like, and the other kids made fun of me, and she didn't defend me. So I ran through the house and out into the backyard and ran as far as I could, and all I came up against was a brick wall. Couldn't get out of the yard. So up against that brick wall, I sat and cried. And so what? Why am I telling you about that now? I only recently found out about that memory. You know, it was something I hadn't really delved into until I decided to face some of my quirks and hang-ups. Anybody have quirks and hang-ups? Quirks and hang-ups that have really been following me and defining me in a way that I didn't want them to define me. I'm accused of having intimacy issues. I don't know why I'm accused of that. I mean, I've never married, never had kids, never even worked, yeah, no dogs, no cats, never even worked at an organization that I'd have to, be accountable to or that they would take care of me. It turns out that every experience we have has two parts. There's the what really happened, and there's the meaning we give to what happened. So, what just happened? Negative. Give me more. What just happened? I looked at somebody in disgust. And what is she attributing to what happened? What meaning do you suppose Peggy's attributing to what happened? What did I do? Who does she think she is? What's her problem? Now, interestingly enough, we have situations all day long, every day, and we don't really know why people do what they do, or we don't really know the background as to what happened. So we could actually figure out anytime we wanted what that meant. But question, do you suppose that we humans are more inclined to assume it was a positive thing, a negative thing, or a neutral thing? Negative. Oh, they all said negative. And don't you wonder why, when we have a choice, we choose the negative? And I'm going to answer that the reason we choose the negative is training. That's not the answer you expected me to give you. But there's a part of us, of course, that's our survival mechanism, and it's been trained to always tell us the worst case scenario. Anytime a situation happens, the first interpretation we get is the one where we take it personally, the worst case scenario. Now, why would that be? Why would our psyche do that to us? I heard we're egomaniacs. That's true. But when we're self-centered, in order to protect ourselves, it seems reasonable, doesn't it? Think about it. Why would I need to know the worst case scenario? So that in case it happens, I'd be prepared. Now, how often does the worst case scenario happen? I think one of my favorite quotes is when Mark Twain said, "I've been through lots of terrible things in my life, some of which actually happened." Because, you'd have a greater tendency to take it negatively if you'd had past negative experiences with me, or if you'd had past negative experiences with other people. So you might say our past experience determines our present interpretation, but remember that those past experiences were the victim of our interpretations of those moments. So how much can they really be trusted? You see, our brain has these two main behavioral parts, conscious and unconscious. And let me ask you, where do you suppose you spend the majority of your waking hours, conscious or unconscious? We spend 85 to 90% of our waking hours unconscious. Congratulations. What I mean is that you're awake, but you're not having to think through step by step what you're doing. What's a good example of that? Breathing. Breathing, but we can do really fancy things like drive a car. How complicated is that? Yet you don't have to think about it. So I'm going to name this unconscious part of our brain Fido. Fido is a popular dog name that means faithful. Perfect name for this part of our brain. This part of our brain, the unconscious part of your brain, Fido, will happily do anything you train it to do. And whenever you're not under pressure, you train it to do all kinds of things like brush your teeth and make your bed in the morning. You train it to drive yourself to work, and you train it to where you can flip it on autopilot most of the day at work and not really have to think about what you're doing. And Fido makes life easier because you'd be exhausted if you had to consciously think through step by step what you were doing. The relationship to Fido is actually not a bad thing at all until or unless something new happens, we want to change, or we feel threatened. And then Fido turns into A guard dog. I heard grr, exactly. You think about a guard dog, and the purpose of a guard dog is to keep danger out. But our Fido, good at his job, cares a lot about us. In addition to keeping other dangerous things out, Fido keeps us in. Anytime we try to step outside this comfort zone that Fido created, grr, stay there. See, Fido's got a real simple program. Same equals safe. Different equals dangerous. But Fido is fueled by one more thing. Fido is fueled by emotion. And anytime something happens that evokes an emotion in us, Fido never forgets. So as a 4-year-old, when I was sitting up against that brick wall crying, I decided nobody really cared about me, that I was on my own in this world. And the crazy thing is, 40 years later, I'm living out a life that was defined by something that happened once when I was 4. And the part that I really want everyone to think about is the fact that you probably have brick walls as well. But where is that brick wall? Really? It's in your own conscious. And in relation to me right now, is it behind me or is it in front of me? Isn't that funny? Literally, when we talk about the what really happened, it's behind me. I have the freedom to move anywhere I want to. But you know what we do? We take the past and we put it in front of us, as if the past defines us. You know what? Yes, my past brought me to where I am now, but guess what? While I'm here right now, I have ultimate ability to go anywhere I want with my future, and yet I put a brick wall there. Carrying those bricks around is pretty heavy, and if my only future shows up as a brick wall, how far can I really go? What if we take the past and put it in the past where it belongs? Then what is in front of us? What future? Whatever you make it, any future. I call this pup psychology, after our little pup, Fido. And the fact is that most of us want performance. Most of us want to feel good. And basically how we feel and how we behave comes from the combination of what happens and what we make it mean. And what we make it mean comes from those two parts of our brain, the conscious part of our mind, and Fido. Fido that will happily do anything we train him to do, but we have to train him. And when we don't train him, Fido falls into the old pattern. Safe equals same. Dangerous equals different. And if there's anything that's been negative and has hurt you, Fido's job is to keep you from having it happen again. Fido, trying to protect me from being hurt by a mean babysitter, has kept me from being able to get close to anyone in my life, has kept organizations from growing the way they want to grow, and has kept millions of people from being happy. Get the past back in the past. A brick wall behind me can't get in the way of my great success. Thank you so much.